Hello and welcome to this Yin Yoga practice. This particular sequence has been considered especially for those of you sitting at desks for a lot more time than you usually would be. So if you are suddenly working from home or sitting at your desk to connect to spaces online or doing a lot of extra learning or study online, and you're feeling it in your spine, your shoulders, your neck, your hips, this sequence has been put together especially for you. So we're going to use a bolster and a block for this practice, so make sure you've got something like that nearby, and then come and join me in a comfortable upright seat. Eyes could be opened or closed. Just take a moment to feel in to what your body has to say at what's probably already the end of a long working day. And as you bring your hands into prayer at the heart center, just welcoming yourself into your body and down away from the mind. Becoming more aware of your breathing, and begin to smooth out your exhalations. Welcome to this practice. Namaste. So we're going to start by a little bit of movement for the spine by coming onto all fours. Just gently coming up, having the hands loosely underneath the shoulders, knees under hips, and then nice and slow, we're going to start moving through some cat-cows, so raising the chest, head and eyes up, and on a breath out, curling the head under, rounding spine to the sky. And you can follow your own breath here. We're going to do about 5 or 6 of these, or 3 really slow ones if that's what your upper back needs. Following the inhale up, following the exhale down. Sometimes it's nice to start with these just to see where do your muscles and tissue feel like they catch. Where do you feel like you've got space to move? When you feel good about that, we're just going to fold back into your version of extended child's pose for a little bit. Knees as wide as you like them to be. Welcome to come up onto fingertips if that's a better way for you to open up more space through the shoulders and your thoracic spine. Forehead resting down on something, be it the floor or a cushion. And then let the hands soften to the floor. The sequence, we're going to start with creating a little bit of twist and space for the upper body and shoulder region. So we're going to start by coming into thread the arm needle. So floating your way back up onto all fours and guiding your right arm up toward the sky and threading the back of the arm down and into the floor. And as the head comes down to rest, if it doesn't feel comfortable enough to rest on your mat or the floor, make sure you tuck a block or something beneath it so that your neck muscles don't have to stay on to support the weight of your head. This is a great shape where you can experiment quite a bit with your arms, so you might even prefer to have that top arm through the top of the mat or fingertips closer to your face, and that way you can mindfully steer yourself around, all the tissue that attaches onto your right shoulder blade. Please give yourself permission to let your hips move around and see how that helps you to find, the tight spots in the shoulder region, the sweet spots, the spots that have been crying out for a stretch all day. Slowing down your breath. And softening your face. There's a second part to this coming up, which you can join in if it feels good. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay in threading the arm needle and continue exploring what you're doing now. Otherwise, the second part is what I call child's pose pullback, where we just let the left hand find the right hand, and then hips snuggle back into that extended child's pose position. Your head could roll off your right bicep onto the floor. Sometimes I like to have my head resting on my right arm. And then I'm creating a bit of a sensation where my hands are clasped together. The top hand is trying to push the bottom hand into the floor, but the bottom hand is trying to pull back and away from the top hand. Essentially, what I'm aiming to do is find a bit of elongation and space along the side of my rib cage, in that long flank region of the latissimus dorsi muscle group. But again, you can roll your trunk under and back, experiment where your head might rest. Just see what this shape has to offer you in terms of stretching out the side of your body. There's about another handful of breaths here. Taking one more breath in, breathing out, and then slowly releasing the hands' grip on each other, and then slide your way down into the floor and come and take a really long rebound here. Well, not really long, but a place for that right arm, right shoulder, right rib cage to settle. You can lay on your back, you can lay on your belly, wherever you feel like you can be very effortless. Just you and your breath. As you slink in to this rebound, your right shoulder and left shoulder might be feeling a little different to each other. Right arm and left arm might be feeling different as well. Allow yourself to be resting into your senses. Just constantly encouraging your mind to come down away from the thinking of your day and into the experience of being in your body. Shape we are going to flow into is banana. So come onto your back if you're not there already. And then we're going to take the arms up over the head. You can either loosely collect your fingers together here, or another preference is that you could interlace fingers together and take your hands under your head. We're going to slowly walk the feet across to the left and wiggle the upper body over to the left, so it's a side bend on the floor. You can play with hooking your feet together, right heel over left ankle, or left heel over right ankle, doesn't matter. And if neither of those feel very good in your body, uncross your feet, it's fine. By folding to the left, we are inviting some kind of broad, long, yin type of sensation to enter into the right side of the body, possibly concentrating around the right side waist, but some people get a really even spread along the whole outer right leg and the whole side of the right torso. Breath rising and falling through the abdomen and the rib cage. Just take a moment to feel into how much you hold the muscles around your mouth, even when you think you are relaxing. How much of that kind of undercurrent, low-grade squeeze or grip do you carry in your jaw and mouth areas? And as we travel through the second half of this shape, to see what possibilities there are for your exhalations to help some or even all of that progressively melt out of the jaw region. Take a smooth breath into your right lung, breathing out, and start unwinding your legs and upper body and come back for a quiet melt in a rebound of your choice. Effort required of you in this rebound at all. The breath will continue to breathe you. The floor will rise up and hold you. When you feel ready to come out of that rebound, we're just sliding over to banana on the opposite side, so you know where you're headed with this one. You come in when you feel genuinely ready. We'll be taking arms up overhead, walking feet to the right, upper body to the right, with whatever you choose to do in terms of hooking or not hooking your feet, and whatever you do in terms of choosing to have arms pretty loose or clasped under the head. noticing what kind of broad yin sensation is already entering through the left-hand side of your body. Softening down through the face. Easy breaths that continually roll into the body and roll out like waves. Two more soft exhalations here. Releasing out of the shape. Sometimes after the side-to-side motion, before or after a rebound, it can feel nice to hug your knees to your chest. So if you feel like you need a little bit of movement release before you come to stillness, just make sure you add that in for yourself, and then slide down into another one of those melting, effortless rebound places. Thing we need to come back to is crawling our way onto all fours again to balance out the upper body, shoulder places for the left hand side of the body. So when you're ready to climb on up, and let's take a few of those cat-cows again, as slow as you would like to go, about 5 or 6. Feel free to close your eyes if that helps you really get in touch with your sensory body versus your thinking mind. Inhale takes you up. Exhale curls you under. You can really do as many of those as you desire. When you are finished, we're going to take our threading the arm needle, guiding the left arm up and scooping that arm down and into the floor. We'll follow that same sequence order here of about 2 minutes of this being the thread the arm needle, and then an optional, if you want to join in for it, 2 minutes of the child's pose pullback. Slowly navigate where you feel like you want your arms to be in order for you to really find the places in and around that left shoulder blade and upper back that have been wanting to be tended to today or this week. Sending your breath into whatever you are discovering in there. And then if you're joining in with the pullback, just make a slow transition from threading the arm needle, letting the right hand come and meet the left, hips folding back into your version of extended child's pose, and let those arms kind of get dragged with you. Top hand is lightly pinning the bottom hand down to the floor. Bottom hand is trying to sneak and pull out and away. Head might rest off your arm and onto the floor. It might rest on that inner arm bicep. It's definitely worth experimenting, as we all have different proportions in terms of our arm bones to torso to legs. So whatever you want to do to try and steer this down the left-hand side of the body. Doesn't need to be a really aggressive pull either. It can even be something where you pull back and then relax. Pull back and then relax. So it's got a bit of ebb and flow to it. Taking one more complete inhale and exhale. Sliding out of that and coming to your most restful version of a rebound, particularly for that left arm and shoulder. To feel the heaviness of both of your shoulder blades here. Rolling all all the way into your arms and hands and fingers. The weight of your rib cage, the weight of your skull. Down into your belly. Take a broad, full breath. Breathing out. And then rolling your way up or toward your props. Just bring them in. Next couple of shapes, we are shifting down into the hip flexors, but we're going to do this on our back. So this is upside down dragon. Now, if you prefer coming up into a lunge and doing dragon the way that you like, you can. This version is just a little bit more restful. So we bring the bolster underneath the knees and then slide the bolster right up under your buttocks. And just take that part first. We're going to start by targeting the right hip flexor, which means we're going to extend the right leg out and let it be heavy. And then we're drawing the left knee into the body. Now, if you get a bit of a pinching right in that space where the hip bone meets your body or the hip bone meets your thigh bone, maybe take that leg to the side. Also, if in that initial part you just sort of didn't really feel much sensation in the hip flexor, you can add a block in under the sacrum as well. The block raises the pelvis up higher and therefore increases the amount of stress that can move through the right hip flexor. Now that might be too much. So if you're experimenting with that and it is too much, just take the block out and use only your bolster. And as you're getting sorted there, figuring out where in relation to your chest or out to the side you prefer that left knee to be. Particularly trying to find the position where your left bicep, your arms don't have to be squeezing and gripping the whole time. You want to be able to just sort of hang out in this one. The primary place of sensation is going to be that right hip flexor area, but it could spread down into the quad, and it might even spread up into your abdominal area on the right side as well. This is going to be approximately 4 minutes of time spent here. So if that becomes too much for you, please do come out earlier. And if you find this incredibly juicy and you love it, you're so welcome to pause your video and stay for as long as you want. How's your breathing? Can you still find a fairly smooth way for your breath to flow in and flow out? How's the feeling through your face? Is there a bit of bunching going on between your forehead and eyebrows? Has that little bit of grip turned up again in the mouth? exhalation, releasing that left knee. And clear your props out from underneath your hips. Either clear them out from under the body entirely, or another option is to slide the bolster out until it just catches the back of your knees and let that hold the legs and support your lumbar spine as you take a rebound here. There can often be a lot of lingering sensation moving through, almost dancing through the hip flexor when you come out of a lunge dragon or this upside down dragon. So after some time in stillness, you might even feel instinctively that hugging your knees and bringing that very slow, gentle squeeze of hips together might feel really good. And you can do that for as long as you need. We're going to be balancing that out on the opposite side, so you really can come in whenever you are ready. We'll be bringing the bolster back under the body with the addition of the block if that's how you used it before and that worked well. But bearing in mind, whatever you choose to do, if the amount of sensation that you feel in the hip flexor area is 2 out of 10, that's still highly valuable. We're not necessarily trying to create the most intense experience in the hip flexor. If it's so strong that you are shaking, or if it's so strong that your whole face is squeezing, or your breath is getting really intense, it's probably a little bit too strong. So see what you can do to reduce that. Using your breath as a diagnostic tool to find out where on the spectrum of intensity you've gone too far toward and how you might shift back to a place where breathing can be easy. Noticing what you're feeling in that left hip flexor area, and if on this side indeed it is spreading further down the leg or up into the belly. That right knee can be out to the side, close to the chest, whatever works well for you in this position. Full of breaths left here for this side. And on your next exhalation, right leg. Or you can stay in for longer if you want more time. If you have come out of the shape already, just use the bolster to support the back of your knees or slide it out completely. And if you are still in the shape, just calming out when you feel genuinely ready to. Letting the pelvis sink into the floor, or softening at the front of both hip flexor and hip crease regions. Melting back into your rebound. Hug the knees in if that feels good again. The next part of the sequence is going to bring us up out of the floor and into the forward fold of caterpillar. So when you're ready, roll yourself over onto one side and bring yourself up to sitting with your bolster and block nearby, and bring your legs out in front of you. If hamstrings are quite tight, you might like to have your bolster underneath your knees. Sometimes that's just a nice prop to play with anyway. Heavy through the sitting bones. And take a slow breath up your spine, and on an exhale, letting the head start to hang forward, the weight of your head encouraging your spine to move down. The potential here is for the whole back to receive strong stimulation, and the whole underneath of both of your legs. For most people, it does tend to concentrate in the hamstring region and the lower back, upper back areas. If as you fold forward, it feels really quite strong in any of those places, having your head resting on something can be helpful to reduce that sensation, and that could be a block. You could even come up onto your elbows and use your hands to support your chin or your forehead. Coming back to using your breath as a diagnostic measurement. How easy does it feel to breathe as you begin to enter into this shape? This is going to be approximately 4 to 5 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes, not 45. So it's really important that as you sink in, that you're paying close attention to when your body might like you to rearrange or adjust the height of a block or prop you've got under your head. You may even find that there comes a point where you don't want the bolster under your legs, likewise, keeping the bolster in the whole time is a great option if that's what your body needs. Allowing the sound of your breath in here to passively float down and into both of your ears. Back body is this sensation concentrating the most for you? Is the shape talking strongly to your lower back? Perhaps your mid or upper back, back of your neck, the backs of your legs. As we sink in to the last portion of time, to see if you can play with the idea of directing your breathing or the awareness of breathing into the places in your body that are feeling the most sensation in this shape. So the inhale brings the capacity for space, and the exhale softens. Ready to come out of the shape, nice and slow. A slow climb up is a great idea after all that time folded forward, and then just as slow, figuring out where you want to rebound. If you roll yourself down onto your back, there's a good chance that a few breaths in, all of the deep fascia of the lower back will start to feel like there's a big aching sensation moving through there. That is a very common sensation. Sometimes keeping bolster under knees is a good way to lessen that. And sometimes placing the hands on the belly in your rebound and breathing into that part of your body, belly to back, is soothing. So because that was a long forward fold, we're going to take a slightly longer rebound here. Breathing into whatever sensations are moving through you now as you rest. Hugging the knees again is a great option after that forward fold, rolling around. Slowly rolling over onto your side. And then we're going to take that bolster and bring it back behind the body. So the last moment that we will land into is a simple reclined shape back over your bolster or cushion or whatever you're using as a segue toward our Shavasana. So you can do whatever you like with the legs. You could create a butterfly type position with your feet together, knees open, or you could just slide your legs out. Bolster in nice and close to the back of the pelvis, head resting back, slowly navigating where you want your arms to rest, creating that nice amount of space through the chest, just passively opening up those pec minor major muscular areas that can get very tight and pull the shoulders forward when we are sitting at desks for a long time, focusing hard, welcoming in some space into the front of your body, resting completely into the support being provided from your bolster and the floor. Inviting that softness to re-enter your face. Easy breath, flowing in and flowing out. Other side of the shape. We're going to glide down into Shavasana. So if there's anything in particular that you want to bring in to create a very supported, warm and comfortable position, begin moving a little bit from your reclined shape. Just get those bits and pieces organized, whether it's a blanket over your body, returning the bolster to be under your knees, or something over your eyes. Making some space for the legs. Softly rolling your eyelids down and inviting just the sweetest little parting of your lips to slacken the bottom jaw, tongue heavy in the bottom of the mouth. Whole back of your body receiving the ground as the ground comes up to carry away the efforts of your long day, to cradle your mind. Invite yourself into a space of receiving this moment of rest. I'll guide us up and out together. Starting to take a few deeper inhales. Inviting the smallest of little movements back into the body. Little movements might transition to big movements, like a stretch of arms being pressed up overhead and a soft roll over to one side. gradually climbing your way up to a seated position. Settling in there, hopefully the body feels a little bit more free and spacious and clear after your day. And noticing how you're feeling. Into prayer. We'll take a breath in and out. Namaste.